get a lot of questions about how to change our strings. So let's get started with this. It's going to be the same for our violin, viola, cello. It's just going to be different sizes and different strings and tuning. So you can check out my tuning videos that I have on my YouTube. What I have here on my table, besides too much pet hair, ignore that, I have my strings. I use Diodario Helicore for the most part because they're very affordable. I am not endorsed by any means. They have been making strings for forever, and these are the most affordable strings that sound great. They don't die as quickly, and I play a lot. So I want to make sure that I have a string that I can afford to replace at a regular basis. I can do this every 6 months because I do a lot. My A string is, once again, stripped here. It started to unwind. So what else I have on my table? I have a pencil, and we're going to use our lead, quote unquote lead, for lubrication. I have a cloth to go along with a fretboard or fingerboard treatment because it is winter and wood does not like winter. And so we're going to take care of that now. I'm going to start by just removing my A and my D string. And if I were not treating my fingerboard, then I would only be taking one string off at a time. So let's do this. It's scary at first. Oh man. I'm going to remove my A string, and I'm just going to loosen up this peg, and this peg is only held in by friction. If you have any sticking issues, use some anti-seize, or if they're too loose, put some chalk on it. That will help in the future. So as I remove the string, this string is now junk because I have played it to the point of unraveling. It's a common problem if you play a whole ton, like teachers do. So I'm actually going to throw this away. And I would then go ahead and replace this string. But since I'm conditioning, let's condition this board first. So I'm going to now remove my D string as well. I like to put some tension on it. Just makes it easier. All right, at this point, I would, regardless, wipe down the fingerboard. It gets dirty. I wash my hands regularly, and this still happens. So, this is Guitar Honey. I'm not supporting any particular company. And I'm going to wipe it on. I'm going to loosen this a little bit. The reason I'm not loosening these strings all the way is to keep my bridge where it is. You don't want to get this on your strings regularly. You're going to let this soak in for a little bit, and then you will polish this right off. As we are waiting for that, I'm going to pull this out. Each one's individually wrapped, thank goodness. But they do have different colors up in the peg box. I should have grabbed scissors. All right, pull out that A string. That's soaked in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and polish that off, wipe it right off. Depending on how frequently you change your strings, you might have to vary how frequently you condition your board. All right, so before we put this on, we're going to check all of our points. I'm going to make sure that fine tuners, not all of you play with fine tuners. I have no judgment whether you want to use fine tuners or not. That's up to you. Tons of dust builds up here. Use this time to really clean off everything here, to get in between all the way up here. Go in between everything. But we want to use a pencil, number 2 pencil, the way we do for testing, on our bridge where our strings go, because these are wound strings. These are flat wound strings that go around a core. These are not gut strings. And they just wrap all the way up the string. And if we don't have this lubrication, then it will get stuck on one of these edges here. They're more prone to get stuck on one of these edges here. So go ahead and scribble all you want in there. So I will do this on my lap a lot of the time. Ball end goes in the tailpiece. I keep some tension on here. This is going to be the interesting part of getting the string in this little tiny hole. It's hard to see the little tiny hole in there, in the peg box. So use as much light as you possibly can so that you can see that. So I'm going to pull that up onto my lap and my old people eyes. I will bring up the camera so you can see me glaring into this little peg box. Oh, going the wrong way. There we go. I try to keep tension on the bottom so that it stays on in the tailpiece as I shove it through this little tiny hole. I usually like my wrappings to look pretty neat. Sometimes you have to double over them so that they don't slip. So I put them so that they line up pretty neatly. Usually it's hard to see that top one. And you can pull this peg so they line up nicely. Remember to push in as you tighten so that it stays in there. All right, I'm not going to bring that all the way up to tension right now because I have other strings to continue to do. I want to do just enough so that it stays on there. So let's go back to putting on our next string, our D string. I'm going to go through, I already did this. I'm going to make sure that my hands didn't wipe off. Scribble, scribble, scribble. All right, a D string. My mom told me, never use my teeth, because it doesn't work. Stabby stab. Bring scissors. Voila! That works much better. Don't cut your string. Don't kick your camera. All right, back to the D string. On ramp. Same thing, make sure that your fine tuner is about midway point. I'll try to follow this up. And then into here, I'm going to feed this into the peg box. I stick in the hole, turn a little bit, clamp down, keep it nice and tight on my finger, make sure it's in the groove, and tighten as I push in, just enough so that we are saving the bridge on there, that we don't have to readjust that bridge too much. All right, let's move on. It doesn't matter if you do the G or the E next. The D string I will keep. The G and the E string I will keep. I hold on to these strings as extras for when I do break a string or it unravels. strings the most. So I'm going to put this in my case and save it for an emergency. Wipe all this off. Scribble in to your nut and your bridge. Oh, wrong way, once again. Shove it through. I shove it all the way through. So what I'm doing on the inside, I'm shoving all the way through like this, and then I go crimp when I have it inside.
Push in, crimp down, and then I start turning. And you can use the side of the pig box to make it look pretty. All right, I'm reattaching it into my fine tuner, keeping tension on there.
Into the groove, pushing in. All right, now for the E string.
This way, this way, this way.
Double check my bridge here. It's in between my F hole notches.
Save this one for future emergencies. Lubrication.
All right, a lot of E strings will come with this string reinforcer because the E string is so fine that it will cut through the bridge. I have an E string reinforcer built into my bridge. I have this little ridge. Some people will have a like black box in here. Mine looks kind of like a Band-Aid over top. So I'm going to actually remove the reinforcer that I have on the string. Sometimes it slips over the thread wrapping pretty easily. Other times it does not. This one's pretty good. And you just throw that in the grooves.
And same process. Shove it in the fine tuner, make sure that it's at about the halfway point. And then we are going to shove it inside of our peg. And tighten.
Feel free to use your legs to hold your instrument because we don't have a third arm.
Don't feel ashamed if you can't get it in the first time. It can be a pain. Alright, there. Now I have to reattach. I've been doing this for 20 years and I still find it so much fun. Alright.
In the grooves. Alright, so my favorite tip about changing strings that a lot of people don't know is let's get them up to tune or very close. I can use my piano. I have a video that will teach you how to tune. Please use it. I am only roughly. That's okay that it's over. Oops. E. I'm pushing in as I tighten. New strings. So what's happening when we have new strings is that they have to stretch out. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to take my handy dandy rag. I feel like Dora the Explorer. I should have a fancy song for my fancy rag. And I'm going to wrap it around the string. Let's do our A string first. And I'm just going to pinch the string with the rag. If you want to double over, totally double over. And so I'm going to warm up my string by rubbing back and forth very quickly. And I'm ever so slightly putting a bend on it. So I'm bending my string like this with my fingers. And once you do that, you're really adding to that friction and warming the string up so that it's easier to stretch, because that's what we're going to do is ever so slow. Look at this, just a little bit. And I do that with the rag still on it. Just wanted to show you. So heat it up and just tug ever so gently. We don't want to do a whole lot. So if it's a little bit sharp when we first start tuning it, that's a-okay. So let's do that to all of our strings. So D,
G. Careful, it gets hot. Tug, tug, tug. And then E.
all right. So chances are you're going to be out of tune again. Now, time to tune it up. Go over to watch my tuning video because this video is already long enough. Remember, practice makes awesome. See you next time.